Oh, hi there. So I'm working on preparing L'Histoire du Soldat by Igor Stravinsky, which you'll probably be able to tell as I walk you through my setup here. So there's my old 1970s Ludwig bass drum that I restored that has some fiber skin third generation heads on it. Nice suspended cymbal, a couple of nice toms, a couple of nice snares, a nice triangle. The new edition that I'm working off of, which also has a new translation. It's quite a bit more elegant than previous translations. Elkenrider edition, done by Claude Lapalme, who's Canadian like me. A trap stand with some of my favorite mallets on it, a couple of triangle beaters, some pencils, and a swear jar, which is probably going to come in pretty handy. And of course, whatever tambourine you want to use. So for this, I'm going to use a Grover 10-inch German silver double row tambourine. It's my favorite one. And this is one of the few pieces in the standard repertoire where it makes a lot of sense to mount the tambourine. So I wanted to make, since this is going to be a video recording of this piece with the symphony, I wanted to make an aesthetically nice looking dampener that also sounds good. So as you can see here, I've already made it, and it looks fairly nice. And it also sounds good, but I only have one free hand right now. So if you want to hear how it sounds right away, you can skip to the end of the video and you can hear how it sounds. But we may as well get underway here. So I'm going to start by showing you what you need for this project, and then we're going to do it. It's kind of a two-part thing. The dampener is one part of it, and then the mounting of the tambourine is another part of it. So basically, for the dampening aspect of it, we're going to need some gaff tape. The reason why the gaff tape is important is because it's black and it looks nice, but also, more importantly, it's designed to not leave ugly residue on things when you pull the tape off, and it's designed to not wreck whatever you put it on when you pull it off. So when I pull this dampener off, which I'm obviously going to want to do, it barely removes any of the beeswax at all. And so that's why it's good to have gaff tape. And then you're going to want to have some felt and a thrift store cutting board that you really don't care about, and a very sharp knife, and then something that you can use as a straight edge, just to make this project as accessible for the average person and what the average person has as possible. I wanted to show you, you don't need a fancy rotary cutter like fabric workers use, although you can get one of those if you want. And for my straight edge, I'm just using a piece of tongue and groove hardwood flooring that I found in the refuse area of a construction site a few doors down from me. They were throwing it out, so I just grabbed it. And you can use some gloves for safety too if you want, to make sure that you're not going to cut yourself. But I'm probably not going to bother with those. Haha! I will leave them on the table though, so that if I do cut myself, then I can look at them and get really mad at myself that I did not put them on. Hence the swear jar. That's what you need for the dampening mechanism. For mounting, you just need a standard cymbal stand with a base washer solution on it. It also helps to have the sleeve. And then the nut that you would normally put on, a strong washer you can get at a hardware store for next to nothing, a normal felt that you would put on a cymbal stand, and then I'm using two felts from the base of a hi-hat stand, like you would normally just use one, but the Gibraltar Hardware Company sells them in a package of two for not very much money, so I went and picked up two of them. And so let's get to work here. So the first thing you're going to want to do is get your cutting board ready and lay out some felt. You're going to want about 4 inches by 10 inches of felt for this. So I'm going to basically measure down 4 inches, which is about there, and then I'm going to put my straight edge at about the 4-inch mark. It's not actually super important that it's exactly 4 inches, but there we go. It's all pretty much straight across the 4 inches. And then do I have 10 inches? Yeah, I have more than 10 inches. That's more than enough. So then I'm going to get out my knife, and I'm going to press down firmly on my straight edge, and I'm just going to slice along so that I get a nice even cut. Certainly helps to have a table that you can put some weight on when you do this. And did I cut it well enough? Not quite, so I'll just push down harder. I'll go over it one more time. And there we have my 10-inch length. And now I'm going to approximately square off the end where I said 10 inches or so, And I'm just gonna cut that while pushing down firmly again. Woo-hoo-hoo! We're having so much fun today. So now I have the felt that I need to use, and I can move the rest of my felt elsewhere so that it's not in my way. I'll just set it over here for now. And I've got my felt. So now what I want to do, because I want it to look nice, is I want to sort of keep in mind this is going to be the bottom, and I'll use this as my side since I actually managed to do a reasonably good job of cutting it. So I'm going to measure over 4 inches first of all. And I'll put my straight edge at about 4 inches from my end. And then to keep it simple, I'll just turn it around so I can use my dominant hand to cut. And I'm going to cut myself 4 inches. Like that. Then I'm going to measure 3 inches. And I think I've got, coincidentally, about 3 inches there. Let's just double check that. Yeah, 3 inches, that's pretty good. So I'll just push down so I don't lose where I was. Grab my knife. Now I'm going to cut 3 inches. I've got my 3-inch piece. And last but not least, you might have guessed it. That's right, 2 inches. 4 inches, then 3 inches, then 2 inches. So I'm just lining up my my trusty Milwaukee measuring tape here. At 2 inches, I'll press down firmly. I'll cut my 2-inch piece like this. And now I've got my 3 pieces of felt. I've got my 4-inch piece, my 3-inch piece, and my 2-inch piece. Take whatever edges you think are the least even and put them towards the top, the end that we're going to cut off next. I'll explain that to you. So your 4-inch piece, center the 3-inch piece within the 4-inch piece on top of it. Then center the 2-inch piece within the 3-inch piece on top of it. It's going to give you 3 layers of dampening, but it also kind of makes it look nice, and it makes it a little bit easier for the tape to grab onto. And then the next thing we're going to do, because we want it to match the rounded edge of the tambourine, you may as well use, yep, you guessed it, the tambourine itself for this. You want to be really careful about this, that you don't actually damage your tambourine. So I'm going to put my tambourine here, and then I'm going to push down. I'm going to try to center it between the ends of the discs there, and then I'm going to push down super hard on the tambourine. I'm actually going to stand up while I do this, and then I'm just going to carefully push in and cut just a little bit at a time. You're going to have to work a little harder because when you're in the center area of the dampening mechanism, you're cutting through 3 layers of felt at once. You just keep going around and around and around until you're pretty sure you've got it all. There are your scraps with your ugly cut ends that you had, and now you have this rounded edge. You can clean that up with some scissors if you want to, and that's obviously pretty self-explanatory to do. I also don't have good scissors, haha. So anyway, we'll just move on to installing it on the tambourine. Looks pretty good. I can adjust it a little bit so it matches the rounded edges of it a bit more. And now I've got my dampener in place. I'm going to center it like that. And then the only thing left to do is to apply it. So you just grab some Gaffe tape, available at Long and McQuaid Musical Instruments if you're Canadian, and likely a place like Guitar Center if you're American. So then I'm just going to pull off a piece that's not quite as long as I think I'm going to need, and I'm going to rip it like that, and I'm going to put it just on the edge of the, just so it covers a bit of the 2-inch piece. The reason I chose these measurements is because the Gaffe tape will then press down on about 1/2 inch of your tambourine. And then my next piece of Gaffe tape, I want to be about the same length as the one that I just did. So I'm going to pull up for that, and now I know where to tear it off. I'm going to tear it off right there. This stuff tears like really nicely. I love using it. It's expensive, but once you have a roll, you don't need another one for a long time, unless you run a production company or something like that. and I just sort of like I push it in there, push it in there, push it in there so that it's in and adhered to all 3 layers of the instrument. And now you've got your dampening mechanism that you can remove and reapply as you wish. And you still have all this area to play. You can even play it here, but as you can see, I'm not dampening the tambourine, I'm just holding it. And like, that's pretty good in terms of a short sound. You can even play it on the tambourine. So that's playing with your hand. I'll demonstrate it with the mallet in just a bit, but the next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna mount the thing. So I've got my, this is a gyro lock cymbal stand, but you can use a teeth and groove one instead. It doesn't really matter. You just choose whatever angle you want. I'm going to choose a 45-degree angle, and I'm going to take my tambourine, turn it upside down so I can get at this area where the hole is made. And step 1, I put on a hi-hat cushion. Step 2, I put on the tambourine. Step 3, I put on another hi-hat cushion. Step 4, I put on my cymbal felt. Step 5, I put on my heavy-duty washer. Step 6, I put on my nut. This nut is a Tama nut. It looks kind of fancy, but you can just use a normal one. It totally doesn't matter. And then you turn it over and you're ready to play. So let's try some different mallets on it. I'm going to try using a soft hair touch tone timpani mallet. Sounds thuddy on the dampener, but on the rest of the head it sounds fine. Here's a sort of a hard felt mallet. Sounds thuddy in the middle. On the edge it sounds fine. Here is a soft yarn Malletech mallet. Here is a hard yarn Malletech mallet. Here is a hanger touch tone Baroque timpani mallet. So that's where you're starting to get some of the wood on wood contact sound when you play at the edge. But if you play in a little bit or angle up, that's kind of a nice soft sound. Or you can just play it with your hand if you prefer. And I think we're done for the day, so thank you for watching. Now I'm all ready to practice Stravinsky and start swearing and save up some money. Have a great day.